Need something to get into. Pretty girl on deck. Just wanna have fun too. Know what you want. If I need.
Thank you all and welcome to the Love Movement Podcast Youth Edition. I am your host today, Jarrell David, and I have one of the best guests on the Western Suburb, my trustee from the village of Westchester, no other than Trustee Victoria Van. How are you today, Trustee?
I am well. Thank you so much for having me.
No,
Appreciate you.
it's no problem. I thank you for being here. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Trustee, let's get into it, as we say in Gen Z. Let's get into it. Let's clock some tea today. So tell me, Trustee, I want you to tell everyone your story, your why. How did you get into Westchester politics? We often say in Proviso, Westchester is kind of that mystery town, right? So, like, tell us, how did you get into Westchester politics? And then we're going to dive a little deeper. I got some juicy questions.
Ooh, I don't know if I'm ready for the juice. But let me give you the tea. So
Okay.
I literally got started not because I was interested in politics, not because I'm from Proviso, because I'm not born and raised in Proviso, none of those things. Yeah, people always like, you're from Proviso? No, I did not. I'm not. I am from Detroit by way of New Jersey. So I'm a Jersey girl. And so I'm a transplant. But I've been here for some years and I've lived all parts of Chicago. And I ended up in Westchester because I wanted what most parents want for their kid. As a single mom, I wanted my son to feel safe. I wanted him to have good education. And I wanted him to grow up and have a couple of good friends that he could,
Right.
be chill with, right? So so some of those things happened and then some of those things did not happen. And so there were some issues with that my son had to go through when we moved to Westchester. So what I decided to do, instead of being like the typical angry mom that go into the office and tear the club up, I decided that I was going to be more proactive about it and be more strategic and change policies within the school system. Right.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of advocacy for my son, met with administration, and then they reevaluated some of their policies and they are starting to do things a lot different, right?
I'm so glad.
So that was really dope.
Right.
And then as a result of that, the Dream Academy Foundation found their way in Westchester schools.
Okay, come on, talk about Trustee.
Yeah, so bring that partnership to the village of Westchester and bring it to the school system. And so they are actually your after school program mentoring our young kids. Wow. And so within the school system. And then I brought forth the bullying proclamation for the village of Westchester. Oh, wow. So yeah,
I know that's a rundown.
That's a rundown, but that's kind of how I got involved. I got involved because I was a mom that was concerned about her son. And then I started thinking how many other kids that or families that might be having difficulties navigating the system, right?
Right.
And so those things are water under the bridge now. I'm happy to report that I have a great partnership and relationship with the school system, with the families that we were having issues with. That's all done. And everybody is now moving in the same path together. So yeah, and that's how that happened. So someone asked me to run as a trustee. I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't want to do that.
Right.
But then I started hearing other people saying they had some similar stories. And so I just hit the block, if you will. Started knocking on doors.
Knocking on them doors.
Yep. And, I ran with a couple of folks. And then I eventually just, kind of parted ways and did my own thing. So my son was my campaign manager towards the end of my...
I know the feeling.
Yeah, because he was knocking on the doors. He had the script down and,
okay.
And he was just talking to people.
Tell them to join them young Dems.
You feel me? I said that. I was like, you're good at this.
Yes.
So then, and then that was pretty much it. So I ran and then I didn't expect to get elected, but I thought I would just finish it out because my son was looking at me.
Right.
And I didn't want to not
You wanted to be that role model for him, right?
Absolutely, right.
So you got elected.
Yeah.
You are now we call you the trustee from Westchester. If you don't know now, this is the trustee from Westchester. No. So, trustee, talk about this. Now, when I went to your last Juneteenth flag raising ceremony at the village of Westchester, we learned a lot of interesting things, right? In 1995, Westchester really stopped the discriminatory practices of not putting for sale signs in front of houses because they didn't want Black people to come move into the community. Talk about being that Black woman as a trustee, because a lot of people, you have to think about it like this. You are always a Black woman. When you
Correct.
walk out the door, I'm a Black man, everything. And in
Yes.
a time such as this,
Yep.
after watching Straw and crying for 40 minutes, I actually started to understand, because you hit on being a single mom at that too.
Yeah.
And I'm raised by a single mother with 4 children. So talk about being that woman and running and winning. And now you're pushing and pioneering something that Westchester hasn't really seen before.
Right. Yeah. So that's a great question. Well, if you back up for a second, I actually ushered in Westchester's first DEIA statement.
Oh, wow.
So I've been behind the scenes, like working. People know me as the Juneteenth because that's so huge.
Yes.
But there's been a lot of movement behind the scenes, just really working with the veterans, and working so that all of those who don't have a voice and underserved feel like they're included a part of Westchester and that they have a voice and have a place.
Wow.
And I am still holding for the youngest Black woman trustee ever elected. Boom, I want to keep that.
Okay, keep that.
Keep that. I'm still holding that.
Okay.
And so it is a challenge. With all that said, to your answer to your question, fighting for Juneteenth is an uphill battle. I do this because of the culture. I do this because I am unapologetically a Black woman.
Mhm.
And I don't do this because it's politically nice in Westchester.
Right.
Right. If I wanted to gain popularity, this might not have been
The right. Okay, politics ain't the game if you want to gain. And let me tell you,
it might not have been,
Mm-mm.
but that's because I'm passionate about it, and I want my son to know that he has a voice in the space moving forward. Right.
Right.
You have a voice in the space in Westchester, and so yes, it is challenging. I have fought tremendously for the budget to be increased. We started out with $1,000.
Okay.
We didn't even start with 1,000. That kind of just happened. Right. You started out with 0 because
Okay.
it wasn't the Juneteenth.
Talk about the grind.
Right. It wasn't the Juneteenth.
Talk about the grind.
So I bought the first Juneteenth flag.
Wow. Okay.
So the first Juneteenth flag that was raised, I bought it.
Okay.
And the village raised it. And then thank you, village, you reimbursed me. So let's make sure.
Okay. We got to give props with props.
Because y'all came and handled it. But I did because I wanted to make sure that nothing was delayed. So
Right.
I raised my Juneteenth flag for the village. And then the following year, it was $1,000 allocated. And I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
Right.
What can I do with $1,000?
Right. And so I wanted to make it more equitable across the other programs and events, right? Why is Juneteenth underfunded?
Right. Come on, talk about it.
So that was a lot of back and forth, with, certain with the powers that be, right?
They be
and then I got that, we increased it. They increased it somewhat. It wasn't exactly equitable.
Mm-hmm.
But I took it and I made lemonade with it, right?
Right.
So I went to bat with
what we do with everything, right?
Period.
Take our lemons and then make lemonade.
You know that. 'Cause that's what
we
we
do. Okay, talk about it.
Okay.
I've been raised by 4 generations of Black women. Okay, you heard me. 4.
We like, what struggle? This is what we do.
Right. Okay.
Oh no, what y'all freaking out for? We got this.
Right.
So I just went to bat for sponsorships, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went for everybody asking money so that way I can increase the pot so I could get, have a really good, decent Juneteenth, right? And then I ushered in the support for all the mayors. I want to make sure I give them a shout out, Mayor Harvey, Mayor Booker, Mayor Katrina,
the
Mayor
strongest
Hopkins.
mayor. That's my mayor, Mayor Katrina Thompson. Shout out my mentor.
What's up to his mentor? And I would say that even though, and that's a good point, even though no one is prescribed as a mentor or coach per se, when you're in these roles, you kind of become a mentor and a coach by default.
Yes.
And so being these strong, powerful Black mayors in Proviso,
we got them, y'all.
It was important that I made sure that for something so significant like this, that we would bring them in for Juneteenth in the village of Westchester. Especially in the time where there was one time where there was a deed restriction and people of color could not even buy homes in the village of Westchester.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So that is significant in how far we have come. And in addition to that, this is our centennial year.
I didn't. Okay, so we're celebrating
Yeah.
110 years in the
Yeah.
village of Broadview, and y'all celebrating.
100 years.
Wow,
100 years.
congratulations
This
to
is
you and
our
your
birthday
village.
year. Yeah. So thank you.
No
So
problem.
this is really significant that how
Right.
far Westchester has come
It's
to now Juneteenth is a part of their celebration and their centennial celebration
Yes.
on top of that.
And so, trustee, girl, I got the chills. I'm sorry to call you girl, but trustee, I got the chills because I'm just thinking about it. And when we talk about how far we have come, you know, back in I want to say 1972, we see a black woman run for president,
Yeah.
Shirley Chisholm. My grandfather often says that was the first black president of the United States, Shirley Chisholm. And now we're fast forwarding to 2025, but I want to focus on 2024, where we see the first major political party nominate a black woman, my president still. I'm going to claim that, Kamala Davy Harris. But trustee, I want to hit on this with you. Now, we didn't talked about the Juneteenth event. We didn't talked about the flag raising. But not only did you do a flag raising, you did something so significant. And since we're talking about the centennial, you did a March of Freedom. You did a March of Freedom from Broadview Baptist all the way to the Village Hall of Westchester. And then you did your flag raising. You did a lot of intentional things, right? And I want to hit on the intentionality, right?
Yep.
Like your why, what I'm hearing is your why is a lot of your son. So I want to talk to you about, since it's the youth edition, how important it is, since you hold the title of the youngest black woman to be elected trustee, to get young people involved when we see right now 80-plus-year-old people running, right? We see a man who's turning 79, who's the president of the United States.
Right.
So how important is it for young people, young black women? I know it's a struggle to be a single mom. How is it important to get involved in the process?
You know, that's another great question.
I told you he was going to get into it, trustee.
He's into it, and I love it. You know, it's beyond important. It's a mandate.
Yeah.
Let me say that again. It's a mandate.
It's a mandate.
It is your responsibility to be active in civic engagement. It's your responsibility to be active in your community. You don't have a choice.
Right.
Because here's what the deal is. Either you are at the table and you're making the plans, or guess what?
Talk about it.
Or you're the meal.
I'll talk about it.
So you have to be unapologetic. You got to be very bold. And that's what I'm learning out loud. Like being in this space, I'm typically a private person for the most part, right? But in this space, everything is out loud, right? And I'm learning that you have to be bold, you have to be unapologetic at times, and you have to push the initiative forward, because you got to realize that your vision and what you're doing is positively impacting the next generation. And because you're doing that, you're being looked at by youth. Yeah. You're being looked at by younger folks that are saying, I want to get involved too. What does that look like? I have a voice. And that's about empowering, right? And so that's why it's so important, because when we activate our voice, we tell our story and no one else is telling our story for us. Yeah. And that's what I always tell all of the youth and even adults. Tell your story, speak your truth. You know what I mean? No one can tell your story better than you. You know what I mean? So tell your story. And then, you know, when you're telling your story, bring everybody along, bring other people along. And so with the youth coming in, it's more important now than ever, because we have a lot of folks who are aging out, and some people in leadership, and this is federal level, probably should move on, maybe, and I'm gonna leave it there.
We just go walk on tippy toe. Okay.
Because what we need to do is start to now give back and start getting our youth more involved. And how we do that is we meet them exactly where they are at. That's what we don't do. And that's what we should be doing.
Now, you said something so powerful. So we're looking at something right now, and we're going to get to this. I like this, the Save the Dates events really quickly before I keep going into it. But one thing that I wanted to talk about, again, this is the youth edition of the Love Movement. So we're not just going to be doing the Love Movement. We're going to be talking about the youth as well. So, Trustee Van, when we talk about meeting the youth where they're at, we see in Chicago, they're doing a SNAP curfew. A lot of people are saying this reminds them of the Black Codes. Now, for those who don't know Black Codes, that was kind of the beginning to Jim Crow laws, right? Like, okay, sundown town, you can't be out as a Black person after the sun goes down in certain towns, because then it gets a little dangerous,
Mhm,
right? And
mhm.
then we see an attack on our migrant friends and families. I saw this post. Black people built America, but Latinos and Latinas are helping to keep America beautiful
Mhm.
and helping to continue building America. So how can we build that that gap? Since we're talking about Juneteenth, the celebration of freedom, our freedoms are under attack as we speak. We see the National Guard right now, 700 Marines, 4,000 National Guardsmen activated, not with the governor's consent. So how can you tell us as an elected official to the young folks who are just like, I'm done with politics. I can't
Mm.
do it. I'm tapped out.
So you're gonna get, and I learned this the hard way because I was one. I literally was active. I was a stone cold activist, and people from DePaul will vouch for it. I literally organized a shutdown, and I
Oh,
went
I didn't
to
know that.
yeah, because they were trying to change. And this is at Triton College actually.
Uh-oh, I'm a student trustee right now.
They were trying to change the Black Culture Center into the Multicultural Center.
I didn't know.
And at that time, I got wind of it. So a lot of Black student unions came together and we shut it down. And that's what you need to do. You need to organize. You could protest, but just be organized and be strategic. And one thing is the fact that you have people like this in position. You leverage those folks that are already in position to organize to make sure that you're not just outside of the door banging, but you're inside. Because, like I said before, you have to have a seat at that table and you need
Yes.
to not make sure you're on the menu, right?
Okay.
So, that is how you do it. You have to be educated and you have to be smart about it. So, we want to make sure obviously, we're in our emotions. We understand that we're under attack. We get that. Although a lot of Black women, since 92% of us, I think, voted for
92 stood.
and so we're like, y'all got that. But
Okay.
that's not the way to think about things. We still need to come together and be strategic. So we need to leverage each other more than anything else. And then we need to put our resources together. And that's how you collaborate, is putting your resources together. And I'm not just talking about finances, but your intellectual equity resources, this right here. And then once you begin to do that, then now you're changing the scope. Let's put people in key positions. Let's get a long-term plan and not be short-sighted. And that's how you do that,
That
is
was
being
good.
short. Yeah, you have to mentor, you have to coach people up. You got to be willing to say, okay, you do this, you do that, because this is the end goal and this is how we get to here, right?
So you talked about this, and this is something we don't do in the Black community, especially with Black people in leadership. And I know, we're thinking about everybody, but people in leadership often don't do this, right? They don't pass the baton. They just hold it until they die. We've seen it in our community time and time again. And I think, and you just let me know this, sometimes it's really hard to give that power up, because then you feel like this person is trying to come after me and take my seat. We don't take mentorship as a gift. We take it often as a threat. So when we look at mentorship, trustee, how would that look? How can we do that as an elected official, right? And you're a young one, so you know what it's like to fight the powers that be that been in. I've been serving for 40 years. You just got here. How you? I know, because look, they telling me that.
Always do things. This is how we always done it. You know what I mean?
Ooh, I get tired of those answers.
We'll get to it. Like, no, we get to it now.
Okay.
So like, but that is a great question. And really what I would say, and I'm just gonna be very
I know.
honest about it, because that was a really interesting question. I really don't know how to speak politics yet. I'm working on it. I'm just not there
Look,
yet.
we talk honestly on the love movement. It's nothing but
I've
love.
tried before, and I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said it like that. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
All right. Well, that might come back. But what we have to realize is that God gives us a season. And then once we're done with that season, you are obligated to move on and let somebody else continue on with that blessing, because that's a part of God's plan. And so when you start sitting in a particular seat, you become a pharaoh. And then next thing you know, God is going to remove you. So you got your choice. You either go with grace or you get removed, but you're going to get removed because God's plan is not designed to fail. And that's just the bottom line. So
that's the truth.
Hey, listen, your fists are too short to box with guys, so stop playing. So with that said, mentorship and coaching is so important. And that's so important for even adults, adults to adults, a young. everybody should have a coach. Everybody should have a mentor, and it should be various different mentors. Like your a janitor should be your mentor to,
Coach you through it.
Harris, to everybody should have different levels of mentorship and coaching up. And you just always want to make sure that you align yourself with the person that's going to speak positively about you when you're not in the room, especially when you're not in the room.
Okay.
Right. And when we're doing that, I think that we begin to build those trust bonds.
Mhm.
And when those trust bonds are created, and then we've actually planned collectively, going back to that collaboration where we all strategically are planning what our next steps are because we got a common goal.
And we're seeing that a lot now in Proviso.
And then guess what? When it's time for somebody to move out the way, it's not a big deal because we've already sat there and calculated and did the math, and then math was mathing. And we're like, okay, now you go here, you go here, and you go here. We're going to strategically place because now we see where you're good at. You
built the bench.
You better.
You built the bench.
Built the bench, and leverage people's skill sets.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because your gifts are your gifts and your talents. I don't have it.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean? That's real.
And mine is mine, and you don't have it. But when we put it together, we got a whole picture.
Come on.
Okay.
As my grandma would say, if you gonna bring the cornbread, I got the turkey. Okay. And then I got the greens. Now we got a whole meal.
And don't forget the candy yams.
Okay. Oh, macaroni and cheese.
Ooh, I'm getting hungry.
Okay. So, Trustee, before we get to the save the dates, now everybody's been talking to this. We're gonna get into a little pop culture here. Everybody's been talking about this movie on TikTok and everything. I don't know if you see the Tyler Perry Straw.
I have not saw that.
Okay. So that's going to be on your watch list. Okay. So we're going to go to the next one then because I want you to watch it before we can talk about it. Okay. So the next time I'm guest hosting and you're going to be my guest.
Yeah, just give me a heads up. Like, watch this. I'm like, bet.
Perfect. Okay. But look, so this is one of the questions before we move on to your save the dates, and then we're going to wrap it up because you got things to do.
You got things to do.
I just got out the gym.
Okay, you better be fit.
So before we leave the love movement, I want to ask you, and this is so good to me, about your Juneteenth festival. Yeah. You're having a festival now, not just a flag raising, but you're going to have a whole day of celebration of freedom and jubilee. And I'm excited. I think I'm going to just have to call Bravi and be like, oh, I'm going to be there a little later today.
And that's what everybody's going to be doing.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be jumping around.
Yes.
And that's why I put on social media, please attend all of the events. We're going to be busy in Proviso, and this is the way it should be.
That's that collaboration.
That's the collaboration. And shout out to Mayor Hawkins, who actually brought Juneteenth to Proviso. So
a native of Galveston, Texas.
A native. So we always want to make sure we give respect where respect is due.
16th annual pool party is coming up in Forest Park. Absolutely. That's how he brought it. And he is still serving as the first Black mayor of Forest Park. Okay. I just left his Planet Fitness. Thank you.
Shout out. Yep. And so on, and I just want to back up really quick because we said the freedom walk. So the significance there is that when the slaves realized that they were free, they walked into, the nearest town, which it might have been Galveston. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. But the point of that, they walked together because they needed to verify the fact that they were free. So they went in town and they saw the notices and realized that, oh, no, we're not being lied to. We're not, And then that's when they decided to have the Jubilee. And that's when they went to the church. They broke bread. They had the food. They celebrated their freedom. And so that walk is significant because we are walking together as a community. We are reliving what it feels like to walk in freedom and celebrate those who came before us. And this time it's going to be within the village of Westchester. Wow. So I want to make sure that Westchester owns this even after I'm out of the seat. Because to your point, we shouldn't stay in any seat for a long time.
Not too long.
So we should we should put things in place and then pass the baton next so that they could go and continue to cultivate it and then continue to build off of it. And that's our legacy.
Yes.
Okay. The Jubilee though. So the block party celebration.
Oh, it's a block party.
It's a block party.
Oh, I gotta go get my shorts.
We shutting down blocks.
Okay. So. I'm ready.
So we got
y'all gonna have the percolator.
Oh yeah. What?
Okay, my West Side folks, y'all heard.
Okay, $2.90.
Okay.
All right. Don't
Visit your
let.
cousins on the west suburbs.
Please come on, will you? Polk Street.
Oh.
Wait. Oh, y'all don't know.
Okay.
So let me stop you bringing out that.
That's
Uh,
look, monitoring the division. That's where we from.
uh,
Representing.
okay, I ain't mad at you, Pulaski. Where we at?
Uh-oh.
Okay, all right. So I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
All right, stop it. So the Juneteenth block party celebration is actually gonna be really, really dope this year because we have, of course, we had the all-time brilliant and talented Pastor Darius Brooks, Grammy Award winner.
Yes.
He's gonna kill it.
Whose church is actually
whose
in
church is there.
Westchester.
And shout out to Grace Central Church because they have been long-standing partners with Juneteenth.
Yes, they have.
And they have been like literally my backbone. And I love you all so much. I love Miss Wonderful, which is Miss Brooks, Miss Deborah Brooks. And of course, you know, Pastor, you are my mentor. So you already know what it is. So he's gonna be there. But this year I wanted to incorporate country.
Okay.
Because somehow there was some misunderstanding that Black people are not into country, but I thought that we created country. I don't
So
know.
I'm born from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is literally 30 minutes away from Nashville, Tennessee, which is the capital of country music.
So can I ask you a question? I know you're asking me questions, but
let's flip the script.
I just want to know, because you're from the South, and I might be wrong, but didn't
we created it? Elvis stole it from us,
Okay.
but we created it. We did. They forgot, but we did it. We did it. We saw who won the best country album. I ain't gonna say nothing else.
Well, I just need the clarity because I don't want to misspeak.
Okay. Okay.
So now that we got that done, so if y'all got beef,
you can see me
because he from the South.
Okay. And look, as we say down there, jump over the line in Caroline. Okay. Oh, I ain't gonna do that though.
Right.
Bless your hearts.
Bless you and your ministry. So we got Liz Toussaint. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. If not, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. But she's a New Orleans native, and she'll be doing country music. Black woman with a guitar. She gonna get it in. So you all, please come out there with your boots and your fans. Okay. We have Belinda line dancing, so she's gonna be teaching us how to do the boots on the ground dance, line dance, because I still don't know, but I'm gonna learn.
Okay.
And then we have a Patch of Blue, which is a all Black female band, rock band. And they're like in college. I forgot what college they're at, and they like started to do their own thing. And they're like, "Hey, we should create a band," and they did. And so I always want to make sure I give back to the youth and look out to who's coming in behind me. So I want to make sure that they have some stage time and that they're sharing the stage with other greats. And then who else is it? Oh God, Lord, please.
Who's hosting this event? Who's gonna be the?
No, that's it. So yeah, the country, rock and roll. Yes. Okay. So country, rock and roll, R&B, blues. And then we have our local DJ, Jason from Westchester. What's going on, Jason? He's DJing. Mr. Lynn's DJing from Westchester. I wanted to make sure I definitely incorporated Westchester. And so there's that level of accountability. If we going to work Westchester, so I need Westchester to show up for Westchester. Who's hosting it is Ron Baker Jr. He is a comedian. He's gonna be hilarious. And then Miss Hunty, yes, Maisha Owens.
That's now I heard from her from Broadview's Juneteenth, so I know she don't give her no whistle.
I'm giving you a whistle. That's all. I don't even know what that means, but you're gonna get one. So, and she's just amazing. So I wanted to make sure that we incorporate all these great talents in Westchester yearly, because I want to recycle out, the talent and make sure that we're being fair in terms of everybody getting an opportunity to participate. And our special guest is Speaker of the House. He will be there. Speaker of the House,
who's my chairman of the Democratic Party of Proviso, and we were just talking about mentors. One of my mentors. So shout out to the first Black Speaker of the House, no other than Emmanuel Chris Welch.
Boom. And so so I'm so happy you coming, Speaker. And so I wanted to make sure this year that I had elects that actually represent the village of Westchester, because we can make that full circle, right, because those are your constituents. And then we have Commissioner Aguilera. I always want to make sure I get the Black and brown connection.
Yes.
And so in terms of Black people built America, we got our Latinos making sure it's beautiful and maintaining it. And so we want to make sure we share our culture. And because our culture is really very similar, Right.
It's intertwined.
It's so much. It's so
A lot of
intertwined.
people don't know this, and I just want to hit this historical fact because I love history. During the slave trades, a lot of African Americans did not just end up in America. Actually, a lot of them ended up in South America. That's where we get so many Afro Latinas and Afro Latinos, like Dominicans and Puerto Ricans and all of these other cultures.
Shout out to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Oh, so I just got my family up in there real quick. Boom. So yes, thank you for that.
No problem. Just a fun fact. I'm clocking tea today.
I love this tea. So yeah, I just want to always be intentional about making sure we're unified and we're creating representation. So, and Nagalero is going to go into a lot more detail around the more shared culture, if you will, especially with Mexican heritage. There's a lot of people that don't know, but there's totally all Black communities in Mexico.
Now you taught me something.
Yeah, so and he taught me.
Okay.
Right? So so he's gonna be there as well. So we have, Tyra Stamps, Commissioner Tyra Stamps. She said she's gonna stop by, so I'm gonna give her a shout out.
Sister Commish of the first
Man, that's a heavy sister. She deep. I love her. I love her.
She gonna fight for the people.
Yes, and she does not back down, and I have so much respect for her. And so yeah, it's going to be great. We got a lot of Black-owned businesses that are going to be on site representing a lot of Black-owned business in Westchester. And there's more, continuing to open up. Tasteful is going to be there. Black Flames, which is our new barbecue spot, they're going to be there. We have Shapapin that's going to stop in. I think they're going to be there as well. And I think Paul's Pizza is still going to be there. But guess what we have? We have Living Fresh. Yeah, shout out to Melody Winston.
Come on.
Now, that's my mentor. Shout out to Melody Winston. And shout out to Pastor Bill Winston.
Who is
that's my church.
A great mentor in the Proviso Township. So bless you, Pastor.
That's my pastor. And so they will be there as well. And they are donating hot dogs and hamburgers for our kids. Yes. And so we'll have a kids zone there. We got crafts there. The seniors are going to have their own spot. I've already been told that seniors are bringing cards, so we know Spade's about to kick off. I got nothing to do with that. And then just a lot of really dope vendors are going to be there selling their product, but then also not-for-profits, being there to provide resources as well. So definitely want you all to be there. Oh my God, Heaven's Kitchen, Renard, Chef Renard. He is a chef for Living Fresh. He's also a personal caterer, and he's out of Westchester. He makes the best shrimp and grits ever. When I'm telling you that soul food about to be banging over there.
I didn't gain all the weight I didn't lost.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah. But when you come, you could take the workout section with Eric.
Talk about the fitness and health.
Come on, because that's what we need to focus on. So he's going to be doing a live demonstration there.
Okay.
So when you ate too much, you need to burn them calories off. Just go and do a workout with him. Fitness in the park, because that's who I go to. And baby,
what you say? He working it.
He working, but you know what? It's good. I really believe that man is saving lives. And Randall McFarland said that, and I'm taking that from you, Randall, because that resonated with me, because that's so true. Shout out to Best of Proviso. They will also be there as well. So it is going to be a great event. Last year, people were telling me that it was a family reunion. That's what it felt like, a family reunion. People were meeting their neighbors for the first time. Like, we live next to each other. Like, yeah, like.
See, it's about that community, that collaboration, that sense. A lot of people, we talked about this when I first got introduced to the show. A lot of people came to Proviso, and Mr. Brown said this. Shout out to Mr. Brown, Zirtra, Lady Z, and all of the other hosts here at the Love Movement. They talked about the pride that Proviso has, right? That pride to be a part of Proviso. And Trustee, you bring that pride to Proviso to Westchester, a community that a lot of people that look like us didn't even know was there.
Right.
And so we gotta give you your props on that. We got to thank you for that, because Trustee, I got some family that just moved into Westchester, and they are feeling the love.
Good.
They are feeling
Good.
like they can be there.
Good. Love
And
to hear that.
yeah, so
Love
thank you
that.
for your leadership. I already
Man,
told them
that right
we
there.
got Sister Trustee in Westchester. She looking out for us.
Yeah.
So we thank you for that. So you talked about the Freedom Walk. How can we get to the Freedom Walk?
Right. So if you want to register, you still can. Just go to the Village of Westchester website, and then it's literally posted on the front page, or hit events and then just register for the Freedom Walk. Please come. Shout out to Spartans football and cheerleader team that will be leading the walk this year. So the whole point of this is just to grab everybody from proviso, that unity, and be very intentional.
That one proviso that we all talk about.
That we talk about. This is kind of how you do it, right?
You're right.
But I just want to tell you, thank you so much. I'm so happy that, number one, that your family that moved into Westchester, they're feeling comfortable, they're feeling happy, they're feeling welcome. That was if I do nothing else, that is what I wanted. I wanted people in Westchester that looked like me to feel like they had a voice and they had a safe space and that they belong. And I wanted everyone to practice community.
Thank you.
Right. And that's so important to me. And I see that. I see, people talking to each other of all races and all nationalities. I see the community. I see the people waving to each other, more. I see the neighbors looking out. And I just did a fundraiser for the families that lost everything in the fire.
Right.
That was majority of all of those donations was Westchester. They packed the bags.
See what I'm saying?
They went all out. Sight unseen. They didn't know them.
Right.
I didn't even know them. But the bottom line is, when I said Westchester, stand up, we need you, they need you, all races came together.
See?
And that's what it's about, because they were like, this is our community and they need us, and we're going to make sure we support them.
And so that's going to really, and I'm going to hit this really quickly, Trustee. One last question, and this is really important. We often forget this. The mental health portion. And this is my last question, and I'm going to be completely open and transparent because we're hitting that time. But as someone who has battled depression, I often say once you get into depression, it's a continuous fight. Every day is just another fight that you might win. So how do you deal? I know how I deal, but how do you deal as an elected official on your day-to-day, not only being a mom, but being an elected official, doing all the things you do? How are you making sure that you're taking care of your mental health?
Man,
I told you I'm getting into it. This is the youth edition. We're going to get into everything, and then we about to go home.
I'm glistening. You just trying to make me just be so okay. You know what?
I'm gonna interview you.
Okay.
I'm gonna interview you.
So I will say that there's strength and vulnerability.
Yes.
And so with that, I am going to be completely vulnerable. It has been tremendously hard to balance everything and make sure that I'm wearing the right color clothes. In other words, that I'm matching. Because, yes, I'm a single mother. Yes, I'm an elected official. But yes, I have a whole 9-to-5 job.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I do. Because we don't get paid to be a trustee. We get a little stipend. That's about,
Okay.
I mean, it ain't. Look at me when I tell you.
It ain't that, because come on,
it don't pay a bill.
Taxes.
It don't pay a bill.
Right.
How about that? It don't pay a bill. So, and then I have a non-for-profit on top of that, and then I sell real estate. So, like, I am.
Ooh, your day is worse than mine.
Busy. And so, how I hold it together, because it is overwhelming.
It is.
Number one, God is always first. So I talk to my pastor a lot. And I talk to, people in the church a lot. Shout out to Pastor Frazier, who's been my backbone. And then I literally serve. I know that sounds funny, but it's a blessing when I serve. I don't know. I'm not trying to.
Something about giving back to people
about that,
and losing yourself in service.
That's it. Like that's my ministry, and that's my non-for-profit. That's what I do. And I literally was like, this is my ministry.
Right.
And so when I'm able to award scholarships to diverse learners, or when I'm able to celebrate unsung heroes, listening to your story and be like, wow, you need to be celebrated. Or when someone calls and says, hey, and they could just be just telling me their concerns. And then I'm like, I think I could bless them. They don't know that, but they're about to get a blessing. Woo. For me, I'm like, oh, that is good.
I'm a little Baptist, so don't get me too happy.
We're going to bring the Lord up in here, because that is my rock. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that is what I do, and it's quiet, and that's what I like about it. Because I'll be very honest, this, like I said before, being out here and having to say, look what's going on. It's almost like, look at me, and I don't want that. And
Right.
so, but I have to, because that's part of your role as an elected official, right?
Right.
Your constituents need to know that you're doing something.
Yeah. I know.
Right? So you know that as well as I know. So privately, I like to give back. Privately, I like to really, push, my non-for-profit and really help and serve in that way.
Okay.
I would like to go on another mission trip. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
would like to do, just kind of get more. I was just telling my son the other day, I was like, okay, I gotta get back into my ministry. And so he was like, whoa, yeah. So
Right.
those are the things I like to do. And that's kind of how I handle it. But I think the most part, in terms of just depression and the first step is realizing that you're going through that.
Right.
And then just seeking out that help and being really, don't be ashamed of it.
Right.
Don't be ashamed of it, because we all go through it. We all got our issues.
We
And
have
so,
all fallen short.
of the glory of God.
Okay.
But yeah, I think
So we have, this is it, trustee. We need y'all, proviso, to be at the village of Westchester on June 19th for the Freedom Walk, right?
yes. So June 19th. Yep.
Yep. And then the 21st is going to be the block party.
Yep.
And then we're going to have an amazing time. And then holla back at them on July 4th for their amazing 4th of July parade. It's a staple in Westchester. And then Westchester is going to be having their 100th birthday party in the park from July 11th and 12th. And then, of course, the National Night Out. Look, we give you so much love from the Love Movement. We thank all of our sponsors, The View, Tipsies, everybody. We thank you. We love you. And may God bless you and keep you in the living days to come. Deuces, we out. Love you, Proviso.
Love ya.
Pretty girl all day. She just wanna have fun too. Know how to roll one. If I need her to come through, turn up with best friends.